Good morning, A to Z Sports Nashville, and Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Hope everyone's having a great start to their Christmas Eve. I am here with the big man himself, a hat that I told him to go and put on at the last minute that I did not know came with the extra special gift of a built-in beard. I'm Easton Freeze, he's JT Runke, and this is the A to Z Sports Morning Show on a Tuesday, our final edition of the morning show this week with the holiday right in a couple of hours at this point. We're counting down the minutes. If you are a child waiting on Santa Claus, it is officially crunch time, and this is such an exciting time of year. I'm excited to be here with you all talking Titans one more time before we get into the weekend. And everybody, I'm sure, opens lots of presents and stuffs their face with delicious holiday food and enjoys some delicious slop of an NFL slate on Christmas Day. Looking forward to doing all of that. But first, we got this show to do, and we've got a great show for you. Turns out when you don't have 5 days worth of shows to fill, you can just empty the tank on the 2 days that you're doing. And we have a packed show for you today. We're talking about Christmas coaches. We're talking about a pair of coaches that just recently played in prime time, making some waves in the headlines. We'll talk about kind of a riser and maybe a potential faller along those lines, and who we are interested in, what we believe they may be able to do for the Titans should they become available and should the Titans interview them. And then we'll also ask the question, should the Titans interview them? And then we'll get to some Christmas gifts under the Titans' Christmas tree. We're going to discuss some things that could be good news for them in the next week or two, or as soon as the season ends. Kind of an open-ended segment to end the show today. Christmas gifts for the Titans. What would you like to see them unwrap on Christmas Day? And then we'll get to America's favorite segment, Ain't That Throwing Sports Trivia? Again, only 2 shows this week. Couldn't decide what end of show topic we wanted to do, so we decided we would do all of them. If you've got good news, great. If you've got bad news, great. If you want to scratch your trivia itch, great. It's going to be a good one today. Austin Stanley reacting in real time in the text group chat in front of me. He says Jesus Christ, which I'm sure he's not taking the Lord's name in vain. I'm sure he is, of course, recognizing the birth of our Lord and Savior that is coming up here in 2 days. That's what he's referencing. The birth of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly what he's referencing.
Right. So it's a festive day here on the A to Z Morning Show. Good morning, JT, Santa, whoever you are. Tell the people what they need to do before we get into all of this.
Yeah, good morning. Listen, when you asked me to go grab that Santa hat, I didn't know I had a beard either. So
whose is it?
It's my roommate's.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's like, how do you not know?
But either way, we have a very and Bork did ask, we can finally confront Santa. Why didn't you get my parents back together like I asked for years?
No, that's a really dark turn to start the show. Thanks
said,
for that, Bork.
You sit on a throne of lies, because I was not, in fact, Santa. I am
Santa's
sorry.
the present man. I'm not sure he's a miracle worker. I think you need Jesus Christ for that one.
But good morning, all of you wonderful people in the A to Z Sports chat. Good to see all of you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all of the things, as this is the final show of the week. And as that's
fair question, Jeff.
Oh, it'll come back on. I'm not gonna. It's actually really hot. Like
I need you to wear it for Ain't That Throwing Sports Trivia.
Okay.
So when we get to that, it'll come back out. A great reason to stick around for today's show.
Exactly. And so last show of the week before we head to the Christmas break kind of thing here. So Ain't That Throwing Sports Trivia today. We're going to just put it all together, but excited to get into today's show. If you are in the Christmas spirit, please do us a favor. Hit that like button, like the show. Hit that subscribe button also while you're down there. If you're watching over on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, we appreciate you over there as well. Even you, Jeff, if you want to continue
Jeff.
Even
Jeff. That's the holiday spirit right there.
Right there. Do us a favor, hit that like button. Make sure you like the page, and then hit that share button in the bottom right corner, and share the show with a Titans fan who wants to talk some Titans today. So, and with that, Easton, I think we're ready to get going.
Yeah, as Jeff says, it's Festivus for the rest of us, except for JT, because, my God. The end of show topic today is, I mean, if you want to celebrate Festivus, throwing shade is a great opportunity for the airing of grievances. So we will get to all of the holidays that we need to celebrate this week. And one programming note, where did it go? Here we go from AI Sheed. Are we not back on Friday? No, we are. You know what? We're phoning it in this week. I'll admit it. We are. It's just we're gonna take a little bit of an extended break. I know how badly you all were looking forward to that Titans Saints preview on a Friday, but alas, you'll have to get it in the pregame show on Sunday from JT and Austin, who will be back here with you then. Until then, let's have a great show today. Welcome in to the AtoZSports Morning Show, live on a Tuesday morning, powered by BTA Sports. We're live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Our links are tweeted out segment by segment on our Twitter feed at AtoZSports. Also follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more Titans coverage, and follow us on Google at the link that I am sending in the chat right now. Great way for you to get A to Z Sports on your list of preferred Google sources. It's going to help you out to get the news that you want in your feed. It's also going to help us out by getting our product in front of your eyeballs more directly. So it's a win-win there. Make that a Christmas gift to us by clicking that link and following us on Google. We really appreciate that. Got to thank our sponsors, who we also appreciate, for making the show happen and helping out you all at home. Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Check them out at boneandjointtn.org. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts, life is short, so buy a golf cart today with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and Gallatin. BoteroCarts.com is where you can find them. And finally, Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's end-of-year sale through November, through December. Need to update the copy here. You have a couple days left this year to take advantage of that end-of-year sale. It's 50% off of all window styles, and you could get 0% interest financing for 5 years. Okay, so JT, a couple of coaches to talk about at the top of today's show, and let's open with last night's primetime game between Old Man Rivers and the Fighting Robert Salehs. It was the Colts and the Niners in Indianapolis, and it was an exciting start to the game. It was an offensive fireworks fest. It was clear pretty quickly that we were on a rainbow strip type of game, indoor fast track up there in Indianapolis. And I loved the fact that the Colts came out swinging after Phil Rivers in his reappearance. I don't know what you want to call
grand
it. Last
reopening.
Week. The grand reopening of the Phil Rivers factory last week. I think he had like a 4.4 yards per attempt. Very, very low. Wasn't going to get the job done again if they were to win this game. And so they open on the first play and just emptied the tank on that arm. He tried to go yard. It didn't work. But I was like, I knew from that moment that we were locked in and Phil was going to be throwing it all around the yard. I know that the game got out of hand. And that is, really another Titans potential coaching note. It has everything to do with the Colts defense looking pathetic. A sorry unit. They are suffering injuries for sure. It's not the ideal group right now, but even plus starters, or should be plus starters on that team, were getting consistently beat yesterday. And that unit is led by Lou Anarumo, who was in Diana Rossini's athletic list of potential coaches the Titans are reaching out to. Last week, I know a lot of fans last night were using that game as the reason why they wanted nothing to do with Lou Anarumo. I continue to maintain that Lou was scapegoated in Cincinnati. I think that last night I saw him trying just about everything, and his players just weren't performing. I know that's kind of a chicken or the egg thing. People will point to what they want to blame, but to me, I saw him trying zone. I saw him trying man. I saw him try to blitz. I saw him disguising things up front. It's not like they were static on defense. They were rotating stuff, and they still were just getting whooped up on by the Niners offense. At some point, that's not on the coaching to me. That, I've seen this same group, play really good defense this year against the Titans twice, by the way. And last night they did not. So the other side of the ball, the Niners defense is what we're here to talk about. Robert Saleh, a pretty strong candidate for the Titans job, we're assuming, JT. Before we talk about him, was there anything else peripheral about that game, about Rivers' performance, who I do not think last night was Phil Rivers' fault at all. I think he actually was giving them a chance to win the game if the defense had showed up at all. Were you watching and were you as entertained by Old Man Rivers as I was?
Absolutely. It's like watching Phillip Rivers last night was like watching rerunning an entire like 90s TV series. Like you
Right.
just go back to that nostalgia.
It just feels right.
I don't know why. Maybe they were doing this intentionally on the ESPN broadcast, but or maybe just Colts fans didn't really show up yesterday. But it felt like in that game, you could hear everything that was going on at the line of scrimmage right there because it was so dang quiet on that field. And it was awesome to see Phillip Rivers like do 4 checks at the line and like basically, as I believe they called him on the broadcast, a traffic cop, basically just creating
traffic cop. I think is disrespectful. I mean, he was conducting surgery on live television last night. That's what it felt like to me. This guy was out there performing open heart surgery on an offense, and I guess on the defense.
Yeah, and that's just something we don't really see anymore in the NFL. So it was good to see that. But yeah, I mean, it was once again another game and another kind of notch in the resume of Robert Saleh last night. The defense, even though they were getting, Phillip Rivers putting on a masterclass, he continues to get, especially with the run game in the run defense, he still continues to get more out of less. And that's one of the big things here, right? When we talk about Robert Saleh as a candidate, it's a little bit of a return to form in what the Titans have had in the past, except outside of Brian Callahan. It's coaches that can get more out of lesser players, and that's what the Titans have right now. So that's where that fit comes into, and I think we'll talk about that now going forward. I do want to touch on, like you said, Diana Rossini saying that the Titans could potentially look to Lou Anarumo as a potential candidate. I think that would be hilarious that they would go back to that and say, hey, we took the Super Bowl Bengals offensive coordinator. Let's just try it with the defensive coordinator and see if that happens. I couldn't really.
That'd be strong PR on the Titans' part. That'd be well done.
It would very much be well done.
Amnesia asks, did I turn on the Colts fanboy page today? No, you turned on the Phil Rivers fanboy page today. Okay, I honestly, I've never rooted harder for the Colts in my life right now. I know that it's kind of over, but last night I was pulling hard for them because I kind of think that the AFC 7 seed in the playoffs is going to be a joke no matter who it is. And so I figure might as well let it be Phil Rivers and bring me some enjoyment. What harm is there in rooting for the Colts if you're a Titans fan, this version of the Colts, when you know that they'd have a 0% chance of actually winning anything, but you'd get to see Phil out there dicing it up. I mean, it also, by the way, in a roundabout way, I think Titans fans should be rooting for the Colts right now because this has been the like highest vibes disaster of a season of all time. Like they wisely, and this is strong PR by the Colts, they wisely took the most fun possible route once they walked into this hellscape. Starting 7-1, they are now 1-7 since starting 7-1. They are 1-5 since pushing all of their chips into the middle of the table on Sauce Gardner. And I will never get over, and I think this, honestly, I think Ballard's job is about to be replaced. I think he's been replaced by somebody else. Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts, 9 years he's been doing this. He was on the rocks coming into this season. Honestly, felt there was a decent chance he would get replaced last offseason. And immediately this year, he finally earned back all of the goodwill of that fan base and of that city, and I'd imagine of the ownership group that employs him. And then 2 months later, he lights it all on fire by pushing his chips in on a cornerback, which I think fundamentally is dumb. And also marrying his franchise to Daniel Jones after a sample size of less than 2 months, which is definitely dumb. And I think that this is going to be the perfect ending, the perfect swan song to what was a overrated career from Chris Ballard, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot express that enough, that it is just the cherry on top in what has been, I guess you could say, tumultuous career for Chris Ballard and the Colts. But yeah, I think you look at what they've done, and right, you honestly would like to root for them so that they, like, if they do somehow earn that 5% chance to sneak into the playoffs, it keeps Chris Ballard around and just keeps the cycle going, I guess. Yeah, it certainly things can always be worse, I guess, right now. So for somebody else, the grass is not always necessarily greener. And yeah, I think what you saw from them last night, and final thing, like Lou Anarumo is like a good defensive. I think he's basically the same as Brian Callahan in a sense that, like, I think he's a really good defensive mind. Takes a lot of like really good players playing at the top of their game to execute what he does. And if he was put into a position where he would be given head coaching duties, I feel like it would end up quite the same, in my opinion, on that front. But we're here to talk about the other guy, which I think there is more to talk about. And certainly I think it's a more interesting and polarizing conversation because it feels like you're not fine. You're not just okay with Robert Saleh. You're either in on him or you're out. And I think a lot of that comes with him being it would be his second time as a head coach. How things ended in New York certainly also leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And I think that it's kind of what side of the fence are you on, right? Are you hashtag team not his fault? Are you hashtag team it was his fault? That's the kind of game you have to play with him. But from just what he's putting out there on paper, I still continue to come back to this Niners defense should not look like they are. I mean, he has guys like 13-year veteran Eric Kendricks coming off the practice squad and playing really, really solid in the middle linebacker position last night. Like, he continues to find ways to get the best out of players who, are not the best, because he's, to be frank, missing a lot of his best players. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Like, there are so many injuries on that defense that I think you look at him and you say what he's doing is absolutely, he deserves a interview and to be looked at.
So let's ask the question and let some folks in the comments chime in, because I'm curious what everybody thinks. Scale of 1 to 10, JT, how much faith do you have in Robert Saleh to lead a rebuild again? Obviously didn't work out the first time in New York. We can recap how that went, the circumstances with which he was trying to win and failed to do so. And there's an interesting article that I'm going to read some snippets of from Nick Wagoner, who covers the Niners for ESPN. This came out yesterday, I believe. It is a sit down with Saleh about his upcoming head coaching prospects, kind of a retrospective on what he learned from his first time around. We'll dive into all of that here in just a second. But first, let me tell everybody about our friends at the Bone and Joint Institute real quick. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust, and the Bone and Joint Institute is located in Franklin with over a dozen specialists who can help you through any type of injury. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help you with your recovery. They do everything under one roof for your convenience, not sending you running around town for a million different referrals. They have a clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, and rehab center all in that one building. Schedule an appointment today by going to boneandjointtn.org.
Yeah, we're also brought to you by BTA Sports. BTA Sports is better for bettors, and right now it is the perfect time. If you have someone in your life that loves to sports bet, that loves to bet on sports, and you didn't get them a present yet, now is the perfect time to use code AtoZSports when you click on the link either in our show description or right below that title on Facebook to get them a free 14-day free trial and then a season pass, which will cover the entirety of the rest of the NFL season just in that free trial alone, but then into the playoffs, MLB is coming to BTA Sports this spring. Super exciting about that. And then once again, it is a yearly pass. So you'll get the entirety of next season, all for $80. BTA Sports is on our side using analytically backed data to make smarter bets with no guesswork. Once again, where insight meets instinct, use that code AtoZSports when you sign up with our friends at BTA Sports.
So there's a couple of interesting wrinkles to this Saleh story. Does he even want a job like the Titans job? How close was he to getting a job last year? I want to go through all of those here in just a second. But JT, first, we asked the question, scale of 1 to 10, how much faith do you have in Robert Saleh to lead a rebuild again? I'll send you to the comments. Are people in or out on Saleh?
Yeah, Christoforo says that he starts off on the high end here and says he is an 8 in terms of the faith he has. Steven with a 6 and with a 9, highest of the day so far there. Curtis says 3, Cap says 3, Scott says 2, Tall Texan says 2. If his OC doesn't work, it's over. Jack says...
isn't that the case for literally anybody they hire?
That's fair. Jack says 10, but he's going to be the Giants head coach.
You really think he's going back to New York?
That would be a death sentence.
I'm pressing doubt on that one.
Darius says 6.5. Keeland with a 7. Nero says 8.5. He legit learned from his mistakes. Mike says he has no faith, absolutely 0.
Oh, okay, well,
Cause
love a man who knows what
8.
he wants.
Major Keys says 6, part of the rebuild. The foundation is already placed. Just have to put up some more studs and stuff now. Johnny says -10, hell to the nah. Okay. So very negative there. 7, we need help on offense way more than D. So much more on the OC than the defensive head coach. Roger says, I believe he's trying to say -1 there. Chris says 3. Rambo says 0%. Billy says 6 because he's a defensive coach. Chris says 0. Too many kids to have the time to be a great head coach.
Interesting angle.
Kenneth says 6. Ken says 6. Let's be fair. The Jets are horrible. 6. Work with a 7. 5, 6, 7. Right hand MacGyver says I'd like him 8. Najee with a 6. So maybe a little bit more middle of the road, but when people have a strong opinion on Robert Saleh, it is very, very strong. I mean, Amnesia also says 0. If he has already failed once, why would you risk your team's future for a potential bust? I think it's unfair because
it's also just
you can kind of say that for every fired head coach.
Correct. You know who else is a potential bust? A guy who's never done it before. So history tells us the most successful archetype of head coach is a guy that has done it once before and or a guy who has been a play caller for 5 or more years. And that's what the Titans are using for their rubric. I know that for a fact. Saleh fits both of those molds. He has been a play calling coordinator for the Niners. Let's just pull up his resume real quick. He was the play calling defensive coordinator from 2017 to 2020. A lot of very good Niners teams in there. Doing it again this year, obviously. He was play calling in New York as the head coach. He's been a head coach where he was with the Jets for 2.5 years, 21, 22, 23, 3.5 years, excuse me. That was good math on my part. So this article from Nick Wagoner, which I recommend you go read, you can find it on his Twitter if you just search @NWagoner. This is an excerpt. He says, quote, and this is Saleh, by the way. This is from his sit down with Saleh. Saleh says, quote, everyone wants to be at the top of their profession and they want to succeed at that just to see how far they can go and what they can achieve, Saleh told ESPN. Is my desire to get to the top of the profession and hoist the Lombardi one day? Absolutely. Am I in a hurry? No. I love it here. Obviously, the desire is there, but at the same time, it's not desperation, which I find interesting because Wagoner also lays out the timeline for him to become the defensive coordinator of the Niners again last year. Obviously, he was fired week 5, week 6, roughly the Brian Callahan timeline for him. They fired him after losing in London, notably because the owner of the Jets is Woody Johnson, former, I believe he's the former ambassador to the United Kingdom for the United States. I don't know which administration. I want to say the Obama administration, but a recent presidential administration, he was an ambassador to the UK. And so he's got a lot of very important government friends over there, and they got whooped up on in embarrassing fashion at 9:30 in America time by, I forget who, but some team that they definitely shouldn't have gotten crushed by. And they metaphorically left Saleh's butt in the UK because Woody Johnson got emotional, as owners tend to do. Now, he went and became a Green Bay consultant for the rest of that season because there was a whole lot of season left. And now I'm reading from Wagner's article. On January 7th, the Niners fired Nick Sorensen after one season as their defensive coordinator. They immediately reached out to Saleh, who ran their defense from 2017 to 2020. During initial discussions, they made it clear they were willing to make Saleh one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in the NFL and that they didn't want anybody else for the job. In the ensuing 17 days, Lynch and the 49ers coach, Kyle Shanahan, anxiously awaited Saleh to sort through his options. There were head coaching interviews with the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Jaguars. So 3 different head coaching interviews Saleh took the year after getting fired. Now, early in the season, there's kind of a gap there, but relatively uncommon for a guy to get fired and then immediately that very offseason get not just one, but a trio of head coaching interviews. According to league sources, back to the article, familiar with the discussions, Saleh was the perceived leader in Jacksonville for about 24 hours before, and if you remember the Liam Cohen saga, Liam Cohen opted to take the job after initially declining. Saleh also was a finalist for the Raiders job, then rejected an offer to be the Raiders defensive coordinator and the eventual successor to coach Pete Carroll. Saleh finally reunited with the Niners on January 27th. Saleh told ESPN recently, this is classic right here, that he was always going to return to San Francisco unless he got a head coaching job. I kind of believe him on that part. I don't think that he really considered any other DC job, but it's also like, what else is he going to say? Because he's currently working there. I find this interesting that he, one, was kind of the Mike Vrabel storyline there, where Vrabel was the guy in Los Angeles for the Chargers if he was the preferred backup if they didn't land Jim Harbaugh, whose brother we're going to talk about here in just a second. And then, of course, 1 year later, he then gets a head coaching job in New England, and he's doing what he's doing now. Interesting parallels there. If the Titans were to be the next New England, like I've seen some people online speculating, how that storyline with the head coaching hire could be scary similar, right? With Saleh being that same guy. Not only that, but being the preferred backup to a division rival. He could have been the Jaguars coach. I kind of thought during that Cohen saga that he was going to be there for a minute because it was not a secret, right, at the time that he was interviewing with the Jaguars and that he was high on their list. And when Cohen decided to go back to the Bucs, I was like, well, I guess that's it. I guess Saleh's going to get the job. And I think they thought that too. And then ultimately Cohen does what he does, and they're succeeding now. So all of that is pretty interesting to me. I also love that the Raiders were like, what if we make you the heir to the throne? What if we bring in old man Pete? And they're like, listen, he's going to die pretty soon anyways, which is a rude thing to say. I didn't say it. Clearly they said it because they were like, he's going to be gone and we want you to take the job. And he was like, that sounds terrible, which might be the best business decision he's ever made. Because imagine if
I
he's
was going to say
that right now.
That would have been disastrous, I feel like. For
well,
him.
You know what? Actually, spin zone, maybe not disastrous. Because maybe he'd be getting the elevation way sooner than he thought he'd be getting it. Maybe they'd be flipping the coin right now. Once you then get that elevation, it's probably then quickly a disaster. And the last thing you want is to get another job, another whack at the head coaching thing, and not choose wisely. Like all of these guys are, I'd imagine, very like Brian Callahan, for example. If he ever gets another opportunity, if he goes and becomes an OC and does like a rehab tour for 5 years or whatever, a guy like that has to be like really paranoid about the next job you take because you got to feel like it's your last chance in your whole life.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big piece of it all, right? Because you talk about he had the opportunity with the Jaguars. He had the opportunity with
Raiders, Cowboys.
The Raiders, Cowboys also were in the mix there. And he took the time to take the year off, right? And he, does this tour and now comes back into the limelight here. And you read that quote from him, how he's going to be selective with his positions. You're going to have some competition for him. It's not like this is the one spot he could go to do that. Does he feel more going back to that I understand it's the New York media and that's where it would be, but does he feel like he has a better chance to win right now and, find more success with a team that's going to have a higher draft pick, a second-year quarterback, and a defensive line and front that has a lot more pieces on it than a Titans team? I don't know, right? That's the things you have to lay out on the table there. And so while I think Robert Saleh is a nice candidate and would be a guy that I would like to see here in Tennessee, I don't know if that's going to be the case because you can only sell so much to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he was going to pick and choose his spot, you look at what you need to still do in terms of a rebuild here in Tennessee versus what you would need to do in a rebuild situation in New York again, where, we have both of them have quarterbacks. The New York has a couple more weapons around their young quarterback than the Titans may do, maybe better caliber weapons than the Titans do. Oh, and they're also going to have probably a top 2 pick that they can trade out of and get a lot more in terms of also with Abdul Carter and all of those guys like that. You start to weigh those options. And so then the Titans need to come back and make a heck of an argument to him to get him to come here and basically be like, but look, Jeffrey Simmons, type thing. Like, I think it's going to be very interesting to see which interviews he chooses because once again, he doesn't necessarily have to. Let's say the Niners go on a run here to end
desperation.
the season.
Not desperation.
Exactly. They go on a run here and they make it to the NFC Championship. I mean, they could, in fact, end up with the 1 seed. Like, they go on a run, get to the NFC Championship.
If they win out, they will have the 1 seed. They control their destiny for it.
Yes. And if they go to the Super Bowl, I don't know if he, Super Bowl and loses, I don't know if he leaves. Right? Like, maybe.
I think he does. I think he realizes, okay,
Bowl,
Kyle's never getting one of these. He's cursed. I'm out of here.
Fair enough. Like, Super Bowl, no matter what, he would.
I have reason to believe that he's really aspirational. I know that in this snippet he says that it's not desperation, and that's exactly the messaging he should be pushing. But his actions, first of all, tell you this, like that he immediately got back on the horse and interviewed for head coaching jobs and wanted one last year. Like, he wanted one. He was going to take the one in Jacksonville that was offered to him if he hadn't then been bumped by Cohen. But I also have reason to believe from things that I've heard that he is actively seeking jobs this year. I do think that even though the Titans job may very well, probably won't be the best opening on the market, eye of the beholder for sure, but objectively, I don't think it'll be the best opening. I think that he would take it if it was offered to him. And that brings me to a couple of comments that I've starred here. First of all, King VC says, Merry early Christmas, A to Z family. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. And most importantly, lock in and like the show. That's right. Please, for Christmas.
Yeah, we got to get in the spirit of Christmas
here. Like the show.
We're about 55% on the like ratio to viewership ratio on Facebook. Come on, guys. Good enough. Let's get that up.
Not good enough. Billy Jones says, does his Muslim faith come into it for some owners? I've seen this asked a number of times. I honestly don't think so. Like, unless he's like doing his interview and like shoving his religion down the throats of the people in the interview room, which nobody's doing that. He's not a crazy person. At least I have no reason to believe he's a crazy person. Then I don't think they're going to care at all. So my answer is I seriously doubt it. James says, apparently no one watches the San Francisco defense lately. As we talked about, they are potentially the most snake-bitten unit in terms of injuries in the entire league. The EPA, the opportunity cost lost by Fred Warner and Nick Bosa being out for the year is almost unspeakable, like almost unquantifiable how big a deal that is. And yet, even though they can't rush the passer this year, their back end is feisty, and they have been really opportunistic, especially with turnovers. And the way, you saw last night, they punched a ball out on special teams. Like, that's the kind of relentlessness that he's been pushing. And if you read the rest of that article from Nick Wagner, which I really recommend you do, there's a lot in there from other players and coaches on the team talking about the culture that he instills. And that's the thing about him that I think the Titans could really use as a culture builder. Anthony mentions, good correction here, Trump administration for Woody Johnson. He and Daddy Trump were big buddies. Curtis says Saleh needs somewhere with an established culture and an older quarterback. And this brings us to my last point on Saleh before we move on to the next head coach in question. JT, this is something that I have seen as kind of the counter argument for him as a Titans candidate, which I think is reasonable. If you are the team, it was his fault. Or if you're on team, it was his fault from his time in New York.
Hashtag his fault versus hashtag
his fault.
Not his fault.
Hashtag blame him. Then I think it's fair to say I don't want this guy at the helm of what is clearly a rebuild situation. Now, I do think it's a little bit different because in New York, they went through a bevy of quarterbacks. And if you want to blame Zach Wilson's development on him, okay, I guess time will tell. I mean, we're talking about Quinn Ewers as backup right now. So, like, I don't know really what we're talking about necessarily. Yeah. I'm not sure, again, chicken or the egg. I'm not sure anybody was succeeding with Zach Wilson in New York for the Jets. Talk about a curse of a franchise. So I do think that Cam's a very different situation. And Cam is here first, and Saleh will be joining him instead of the other way around, where Saleh was there first and the quarterback joined him. I'm personally not that concerned about this element of it, JT. And so my answer to the question, scale of 1 to 10, how much faith do you have in him to lead a rebuild again? Like a 6 or a 7, because I do think his culture is what matters most.
Yeah, I've been a big supporter of Saleh so far, so I'd be at an 8. I think the culture building part is something that maybe can't be quantified or talked about as much as it should be, but it certainly is one of the things that matters the most. And you look at what the Titans may want in this next job, and maybe not as much as what Mike Borgonzi or Chad Brinker wants, but more importantly, what your owner that continues to make rash decisions wants. You guys zigged, now it's time to zag. Back to right. Form. A guy who's going to be the rah-rah guy that gets the best out of maybe players that aren't the best. And that is just the MO of Robert Saleh. But then there's a happy medium, right? Because the Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker led front office still want to build a culture that can last for a long, long time. And there is somebody like Robert Saleh who probably maybe out of every candidate, we'll get to the next one here in just a second, one of the top guys that could establish that.
Let me real quick tell you guys about our friends at Barton Drury, and then we'll talk about the next potential head coach candidate that's making waves in the headlines right now. We want to tell you about our friends at Barton Drury Insurance Group, though. They are customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. You can check them out at bartondrury.com. Truly a one-stop shop for both your personal and business insurance. They have over 40 years of serving Tennesseans. Austin and Zach bought from them for AtoZSports corporate insurance, and they loved the experience. A number of options and plans at their disposal. High level of responsiveness to answer all of their questions. Expertise from the service team that can't be matched. They sell everything that you could possibly need from an insurance shop: employee benefits, 401k planning, life insurance, workers' comp, liability, auto, property, umbrella, and surety bonds. If you missed any of that, because I read it quickly, it's all in there. Anything you could possibly need, they've got it. They're local. They strive to provide excellent service, but most importantly, they take the time to make sure everyone understands their insurance policies. So give them a try. Check them out at bartondrury.com.
Yeah, we're also powered by our friends over at BTA Sports. Once again, BTA Sports, better for bettors. Use that code AtoZSports when you sign up for a 14-day free trial, $79.99 after that. Whether you are a casual fan or a betting junkie, BTA's tools break down the numbers so you can trust your gut and the data. Once again, they're also bringing you MLB baseball this upcoming season, and super exciting time to get in. Once again, that entire year with the 14-day free trial is going to get you the rest of this season and all of next season with our friends at BTA Sports.
So let's talk about the Ravens. They were on primetime Sunday night. They lost a heartbreaker to the New England Patriots, and they were looking good. The Titans' perspective on this was, hey, we need the conditions of our trade with you. From the trade deadline, they sent edge Draymond Jones to the Ravens for a conditional 5th. Could have become a 4th if they did two things. One, Draymond Jones gets 2 or more sacks as a Raven, which he had 1.5 in week 12, I believe. And then he had another sack on Sunday night. So he got to 2.5. He satisfied that condition early in the game. Check. Now all the Ravens need to do is win games and get to the playoffs, right? Easy peasy. Well, everyone's favorite ex, Mike Vrabel, stepped in and said, not so fast, my friend. Let me ruin Christmas for you all. And the Ravens were up 24-13 near the end of the game in the fourth quarter. A classic fourth quarter Derrick Henry drive where he basically marched 75 yards or whatever it was, single-handedly, scored the touchdown by himself. That touchdown to go up 24-13 was the last time Derrick Henry touched the ball for the remaining 12 minutes and change of the game. That's 2 more Ravens drives where not only did he not touch the ball, but he wasn't on the field. He may have been on the field for a snap or two, but most of those remaining snaps, he did not come out there. It was the backup quarterback and the backup running back running the show, and the Ravens squandered a 9-point lead to the Patriots, who are now in position to potentially get the 1 seed in the AFC. This from Mike Kennedy, talking about the longtime woes of late game collapses from John Harbaugh. This is the 9th one, Sunday night was, that the Ravens have lost a game since 2022 in which they had at least a 90% win probability at any time per ESPN. Far and away the most in the league. He calls it the John Harbaugh special. So now the Ravens have, according to the New York Times Athletic playoff calculator, a 6% chance to make the playoffs. They have to win out. So they need to beat the Packers this week and then beat the Steelers, the team that they're competing for the AFC North with in week 18. But most crucially and most difficultly is a word, the Steelers need to lose to the Browns this week for that to even be a possibility for them, hence the 6% chance, because the Steelers would have to, it'd have to be a real Steelers moment for them to lose to the Fighting Shadur Sanders this week. The Steelers can clinch.
Is it in Cleveland or is it?
That is a great question. I can find out for you. The Steelers this week are, it looks like they are at the Browns. So I mean, for hashtag Draymond Jones watch, it's not over. Not over technically. Yes. The silver lining here, by the way, is we all, you want better draft picks, of course. But doing the math on that pick, you were going from the Jets' 5th round pick, which is going to be at the very beginning of the 5th round, to the Ravens' natural 4th round pick. Considering the comp picks in there, which we're not sure of the exact number yet, that was going to be roughly a 20 to 30 pick jump on day 3. So important, but not the end of the world to not get that one to come to fruition.
Yeah, it is. Either way, you got a new pick out of it, and I think that's the important thing there, right? Just adding more capital was always going to be the most important thing there, but it does bring up a question, right? You talk about that stat right there with John Harbaugh. 9 games since 2022 in which they had at least 90% win probability.
Captain collapse, perhaps.
That's at what point do the Ravens say this isn't working?
Well, maybe now.
Or continue to be on the ropes with a Lamar Jackson head coach relationship? Is that something that they want to move on from? I don't know if it's going to happen, because this also has been an injury-riddled season for them, and I think there are some excuses you can make for that. But I'm not going to say it's out of the question that, to bring Robert Saleh back into this, that the Ravens are now a team that is looking for a new head coach, and could it be a potential landing spot for the Titans?
I spoke with our resident Ravens expert at A to Z yesterday, Kyle Krabs, who gave me some insight on what he thinks the drumbeat on the ground in Baltimore is on the job security for John Harbaugh. We'll talk about that here in a second. And I also want to go ahead and ask the question, JT. Let's get the chat's involvement on this. If John Harbaugh was to get fired, would he instantly become your top candidate for the Titans? Let's talk through all of that right after I tell everyone about our friends at Window Nation, running their end-of-year sale right now, and the year end is now less than 10 days away. So you are running out of time, but it is not too late to get in on Window Nation's best offer of the year. It is 50% off all window styles, and we'll go with the fun graphic for holiday vibes this morning. 50% off of all window styles. half off, including 0% interest financing for 5 years on said windows. It ends in just a couple of days, but you can still schedule that fast and free estimate with the pros at Window Nation by going to windownation.com or calling 866-90Nation. Go ahead and replace those old builder grade windows with custom built, high quality windows from Window Nation. Get the windows you want to protect your beautiful home. Choose from over 1,500 styles and colors. So anything you could imagine for your new windows, they can hook you up at Window Nation. Like I said, now is the time. You're going to get the best deal you can possibly get until a full year from now if you call today for that fast and free, did I say free, estimate. Do it at 866-90Nation or windownation.com.
Shout out our friends, BTA Sports. Use that code AtoZSports to get a 14-day free trial, $79.99 for the entirety of the 2026 season when you use that code in the show description or with the link underneath the title on Facebook. All right, Easton. This is a lot spicier than I thought this was going to be this morning. I also started a YouTube poll, so we'll get those in there. And while you guys are answering and commenting, make sure once again lock in, like the show. Appreciate
Quick
you guys
pause. We've got a breaking news for the Titans. I don't know how important this is to people, but Chimere Dike was just named a Pro Bowl starter as a returner.
There we go.
So
Deserved.
the first Titans rookie to be named a Pro Bowl starter since 2010. Can you name that player?
No.
Me neither.
I've got
somebody in the chat probably can. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
someone
know
else pull that. Good for him. I mean, he was ranked second in all
third
voting?
in fan voting, but fan voting is a joke.
Only
I heard Paul
20%.
Karski talking about this yesterday, and he is 1,000% right. By the way, that fans should have that privilege taken away from them. Fans should not be allowed to vote for the Pro Bowl when Peter Skoronski is not named one of the 10 best guards per the fans.
And
Zeitler is. That's one of a million different examples I can point to say you all aren't qualified to vote on these things. And it really sorry, I know that's maybe rude, but it waters down the award. Jeffrey Simmons, by the way, also named a Pro Bowl starter.
Was it the stat you just read? Was it rookie special teamer?
Rookie starter to be named.
Oh, just starter. Okay.
A starter in the Pro Bowl.
The chat is all over the place.
The chat doesn't know either.
So
got it.
There has not been a consensus there. So, but good for him.
Mark Mariani says Anthony, according to the internet, which is never wrong.
Okay, there you go. So here,
Edward, they're not as important as you're making them out to be, but there are a million other reasons that are important that make Chim Dike the rightful owner of this position. Go and read my article at AtoZSports.com. Search Easton Freeze Chim Dike. You'll read all of the way cooler stats about Chim Dike this year than the fact that he has a bunch of yards returning a million kicks. There are way cooler ones, and they make him worthy. Anyways.
Absolutely.
John Harbaugh.
Getting back to this John Harbaugh, which was very spicy and started us off here and said, "Dear God, no." Steven follows that up instantly and says, "Yep, he is legendary." Orlando says no. Corey says nope. Keelan says yep. Kyle says yes. Tall Texan, no, he's not an offensive guy. Darius says yes, he's done more good than bad. Rambo says LOL, no. Chris says yes. Both Chris's say yes. Jack Longley says yes, but again, then Zach Taylor would get fired. He'd get offered the Bengals job. Jack says, reminder, this job sucks. We are option E. So continuing to be the Debbie Downer on this job from Jack there. James says no. Billy says yes. John Harbaugh goes to number 1. DJ Silent says no. My top dream candidate is still Marcus Freeman. So out of left field. I mean,
listen, brother, keep dreaming is all I'm gonna say on that one. Keep dreaming.
Scott says not really, but would take him over Robert Saleh. Camry says no, he's had better players in Baltimore and hasn't been able to make it work. So I mean, hey, a lot of differing opinions here in the chat. I can look at this early poll right now from people in the chat that may not want to speak up into the chat, but right now,
perhaps a silent majority.
The silent majority says that 63 to 37%, if John Harbaugh got fired, would he instantly become your top candidate? 64% of the chat says yes. So if you haven't done the poll, if you're on YouTube, if you're against Robert or John Harbaugh, go fix that vote.
Fair enough. He has a .615 career record as a head coach. He's been the Ravens head coach since 2008. He, of course, has a ring in that span. If you want actual numbers on that, he's 179 and 112. He has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 winning seasons. Very few losing seasons. The worst season he's ever had as the head coach of the Ravens was 2015 when they went 5-11. This season is threatening to become the next worst that he's had, and would be the reason why he was let go if he were to be let go. When I talked to Kyle Krabs about this yesterday, he does not think that they will ultimately move on from him, although you are starting to get some players chiming in about wanting change next year. Maybe that's what that looks like. But you've got Lamar Jackson for a couple weeks now been talking about how he wants to see big changes next year, just vague changes. Changing the coach would certainly be along those lines. And his relationship with Lamar has always been kind of weird. Not that they have a bad relationship, but it's like a running bit in Baltimore is that Harbaugh will say one thing about Lamar at the podium, and then the next day Lamar will just straight up like say the opposite. And so nobody really knows if they're even on the same page or if they ever even talk to each other. And then you've got players like maybe future Tennessee Titan Isaiah Likely going to the podium and screaming in the parking lot after that game that he'd fit right in with Cam Ward saying "we ass" essentially, and saying that he thinks that it's been a couple of years now. He said at the podium it's been a couple of years that they've been dealing with some issues in the building. So what does that mean? I don't know. So yeah, I don't think he'll ultimately be fired, but if he is, JT, I think that he has to jump to the top of the Titans list of coaches. There are flaws about him that sour me a bit. It's like he's getting fired. Like if he got fired, there'd be a reason for getting fired. There'd be warts. But I just think he's the kind of floor raiser that you couldn't pass up on if you're the Titans and you need stability in your franchise. Is he going to be your coach for the next 15, 20 years? I don't know. I don't know. But is he the most safe candidate that would be available on the market? Without a doubt.
Yeah, it would be the safest option. I think that's the big point you bring up there, right? Safest is the word that I think you talk about where Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker are coming from this. Another guy who is going to be someone who, is going to establish a culture that has not been here recently. He's a guy that comes from a division that has always been super tough and is one that you look at what he's done over the past couple of years and say, like, he's shown that he can win in that what is a very, very tough environment and a very tough division. But once again, also, there are a lot of things that have come out this season about, I understand exactly, like if the Ravens, a team that is a perennial playoff contender, that has big aspirations, if they don't want him anymore, why would the Titans want him? And I push back against that. I mean, he's been there for how long, right? Like it may not be that they don't want him, but I think you can look in the mirror and say it's time for change. It's time for
18 years is a long time.
It is. And so I understand where people come from saying, like, if they don't want him, why would we? I mean, that can be the same for any of these coaches that have been fired, right? Like, but I think if he were to get fired, it speaks more to the organization as a whole wanting to move in a different direction instead of the same stagnation of coach that they've had for 18 years and what for another 4 or 5 years to go, type thing, and move in a different direction. And certainly with some of the head coaching candidates that are out there this season, you look at Clint Kubiak, you look at Robert Saleh, you look at all these guys and say that the Ravens may want to go in a different direction. And that could be what ultimately does it. I do bring up, though, because people were bringing this up. You said his winning percentage was 615. John says coincidence. I think not.
Oh, look at
Conspiracy or coincidence. Orlando with the eyes as well there. So, like, is it a match made in heaven?
Nice.
Who knows? Who knows? But
I'm gonna have to tweet that in a minute. It's good.
We will. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they are still in it. Things could turn around, like we said. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we've seen the AFC North play spoiler to each other every single year for the playoffs.
That's right.
Like, this is not new. I mean, the Ravens have been on that receiving end of it with the Bengals and things like that. You've seen that before. I would not be surprised if this is a game where we've seen this come down to week 18 or the last game of the season many times between the Ravens and the Steelers. So,
agreed. So it sounds like you and I are in agreement. We would throw him at the top of the list. Feel like you can kind of have to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think he's getting fired? Gut check right now? Yes or no? Fired.
I mean, it depends how loudly they go out, right?
Not what I asked you. Gut check. Yes or no? Getting fired.
No, I'm gonna say
no.
Me
neither. I do think it's a hesitant no. I don't feel great about it. I do think it's a real possibility. Like, this is not a it's the topic of the week. It's not going to happen. Let's capitalize on it for the show. This is I really think it might could happen.
Yeah, I ended the poll at 67 votes, haha, and the final tally of the votes here was would he instantly become your top candidate? 61% say yes. No is 39. So
interesting. Well, we are running out of time, but let's get to some Christmas talk quickly, and then we've got trivia and Christmas celebration and Festivus celebration with Ain't That Shade Trivia. What the heck did you call it?
Trivia time.
Ain't That Throw-In Sports Trivia time? Yes, of course, America's favorite segment. So let's go ahead and ask the Christmas question and get some answers on that, JT. We'll run through them. Titans Christmas wish list. What Titans Christmas present would you like to see under their tree? Perhaps that's something this week you'd like to see from them in the Saints game. Maybe it's the next two games, the way that they end the year. Maybe it's what you'd like to see from them in January. Maybe it's a New Year's resolution that you want for the Titans, and something along the coaching front or the free agency front. Just what present do you want to see for the Titans this year? Open-ended question. Curious what you guys are most interested in. While you are all answering that question, let me real quick tell you about our friends over at Botero Carts. Life is short, so go and buy a golf cart from our friends at Botero Carts with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and in Gallatin. They are locally owned and operated, so support a local business today. They're a full-service sales and rental dealership, 0% financing for 36 months on carts starting at just under $6,800. They are open every single day of the week. Probably not Christmas this week. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say don't go there on Christmas Day. But the rest of the days of the week, they are open. The rest of the days of the year, they are open. They offer no dealer fee, no credit card fees, so they're not nickel and diming you to death, even a no credit needed option if that's something you're interested in. Life is short. Buy a golf cart today. 2026, what better year to start with a golf cart in your life? How much fun is that? Do it with our friends at Botero Carts.
And also powered by BTA Sports. Once again, if you're looking at your wish list and said, oh, shoot, I didn't get these sports better in my life, a gift, no better time to tell them, sign them up for BTA Sports for a 14-day free trial, and then grab them the year pass for $79.99 after that. You get the entirety of MLB season and all of next year's NFL season. It's a heck of a deal, thanks to our friends over at BTA Sports.
JT, to the comments with you. What are people saying? What Christmas presents do they want to see under the Titans tree?
Jack, predictably, comes out with a new owner. So,
all right. That's like Brooke praying for his parents to get back together at the beginning of the show. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's not happening. Anne says for Big Jeff to win the Walter Payton Man of the Year, not just the club award. So it's a different one. MB says lose the last 2 games and the Giants to win. Titans also. You need a lot more than that to happen, I'm afraid. But
back-to-back L's. David says he wants the number 1 pick.
Not happening.
Unfortunately. Dre says for Amy to sell the team.
Not happening.
Tall Texan says for Steve Sarkisian as the head coach. It's once again another long wish list there. Billy says just a great head coach.
There we go. Now we're getting to some realistic answers.
Let's go back to unrealistic.
Okay.
Vanessa says Matt LaFleur with a big effing red bow.
Good luck with that.
Tighten Up says Cam Ward to throw for 8 touchdowns in the last 2 games.
Love it. Let's see it.
Deborah says wear unis other than all white or light blue / white.
It's so funny to me how I'm not. I mean, listen, if it's your thing, it's your thing. It's so funny how much people care about what uniforms they wear. I could not care any less. Like maybe that's just me. Like I don't think it doesn't even enter my consciousness. I don't think about it
until they get new uniforms. I don't care.
Same.
So, because then you can talk about why are we wearing the stupid ones. Keelan says to go back to navy blue for Christmas for the uniforms.
Well, not happening, but
HR Cash says he wants the Titan, or he or she wants the Titans to win out.
Yeah, why not?
Nero says for Cam breaking all the records we hold for rookie quarterbacks.
Okay.
Corey just
all
wants
the good records, I'd imagine.
Corey just wants the positive fans for Christmas.
He wants them like to come visit him in his house. Like what is that?
I don't.
Okay.
Let's see a couple more here. Let's see. For Femi to play and dominate and use the pick on a corner. Which I think interesting. Is, interesting there. I want the gift shop at gift store at Nissan Stadium to do half off jerseys for Sunday.
They should. We should bully them into it.
We should bully them.
They won't, but we should try.
And then Christopher says for everyone we signed big to have the biggest resurgence next year that anyone has ever seen.
Love it. Go big.
So Billy says he wants for me to put Santa back on. So
well, it's time. Is it time for America's favorite segment now?
Well, what's your Christmas wish list?
You know what? I hadn't even considered what mine was.
I have one.
Go ahead.
My biggest Titans Christmas wish list is to get a new touchdown song.
Can I join you on this? Can I double dip?
All I want for Christmas is for Ring of Fire to go away. So that's my Christmas wish list.
It is truly despicable work by the Tennessee Titans to make us hate Johnny Cash. Because I love Johnny Cash, legend, but unfortunately I hate him because I keep having to listen to the worst touchdown score song. I say in all of American professional sports. It
literally cuts the excitement. I feel like it just becomes dead.
Yeah, it's like they score a touchdown and it's electric, and then you get the equivalent of elevator music playing. It's like, what's happening right now?
Yes. That's my Christmas wish.
They best not bring it into the new stadium. That's
please
leave it.
Please listen to Titan Santa Claus.
The Titans can and should be shamed on this. So I agree. That's my wish.
All right. Are we? So how are we going to do this? Are we going to play all 3?
Yes, we're going to play all 3. Welcome back, and shout out to our friends at WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or at WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Okay, so this is America's favorite segment. It is, I keep forgetting the stupid name of it. Ain't that throwing sports trivia time? If you have shade to throw, today is the day for your Festivus airing of grievances. If you have good news, today is the day to share some Christmas cheer and put some good news in the chat. If you're just here for sports trivia, hang on. We're going to get to that here in just a second. But JT, any good or bad news from people in the chat?
We're going to let them continue to
percolate.
But shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai as well. Do not want to forget that.
I just did that.
Oh, you did?
Am I having a stroke? Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Are you having a stroke?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, my bad.
I know you're very distracted, Santa, but
I am. Okay. Well, look, I mean, it is right before Christmas and we're getting more shade than, I guess people would just like want normalcy. So they're doing more shade than anything else. Jack says shade. I'm throwing shade on myself for being a holiday Scrooge. I'm too honest and cannot lie about how bad of a job the Titans job is currently.
I just disagree. But if you feel that badly about it, I'm very sorry. You are a Scrooge. You're right. Quit being the Grinch.
Enough. Ann says shade to B+ to Z Sports grading scale. We're going back to
the perfect grading scale, by the way. My proprietary work.
Brad says shade on my Oklahoma Sooners for once again being a complete embarrassment. I would have to agree with you on that one.
Forever and always.
B-Bird says shade getting sick and missing teaching the little ones this week, especially on the Christmas week. You missed out on.
Are they not off? I don't understand.
That's true. I mean, maybe they have
Maybe
like
not.
one day of school and it was the hot chocolate Polar Express day.
Maybe she missed. Yeah, maybe she missed Christmas party day. That is extremely sad.
Dre says shade on my job for promising Christmas bonuses and not keeping their word. That sucks.
That does suck.
And
Speaking of Christmas bonuses, anyways.
And
Austin,
says,
you still watching? Anyways.
And says, good news, I got my new medication injection that will help my spontaneous allergic reactions. Wow.
Man,
okay.
Ann always has some little bit of lore to drop in the chat.
Z says, just good news. It's Christmas time.
Indeed.
Throwing shade at the NFL for not allowing 2 games to be on TV for both the noon and afternoon time slots.
Does he mean on Christmas? Or
maybe.
Or does, okay.
I don't know. Shade on Easton and JT if they don't go 9 for 9 on trivia. We can pull that up now.
Is it time for trivia?
I think so. I think that. Well, yeah. Keelan, shade on Fox for not showing the Titans game in Memphis. Once again, always
classic.
And says also good news. My wife and I will be at the Saints game.
Exciting. I will be there as well. It's going to be a hoot and a holler. All right. I am pulling up the dozen trivia. I'm sharing my screen now. All right.
We have an over-under, or I think Orlando does not.
He's not here.
I've not seen Orlando, but our over-under today is to have fun. That's our over-under. To have fun.
All right. Lock in, chat. We're going to need your help on this. Start with NFL, end with celeb mashup. You know the deal. We have Ann here, which is good news. It's not over and under 4.5 turtle doves from Orlando. That's fitting. NFL, here we go. Edge rusher Bud Dupree began his career with this AFC team from 2015 to 2020. That'd be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't capitalize or spell, but there we go. History. Emiliano Zapata was a famous revolutionary from what primarily Spanish-speaking country? Spain? I don't know.
Revolutionary in Spain, like how long?
Maybe it's like Venezuela. I don't know. Where do they? Yeah, they don't have revolutions in Spain, I guess. I mean,
Mexico, and says Mexico
has a revolution. San Antonio. Okay, not what we're looking for. Mexico.
And says Mexico. Brad says Mexico. Let's rip Mexico.
Do y'all feel good about Mexico? Like, is that
I listen to Ann. Whatever
Mexico.
Ann says.
Nice, good call.
All right.
Since 2001, this HBO reality documentary series has followed NFL teams through various parts of the offseason.
It's Hard Knocks.
They're giving us easy peasy this morning. This 2015 Disney Pixar animated film explored a world where dinosaurs didn't go extinct. Is this
the Good Dinosaur?
Is it the Good Dinosaur or is that what it's called?
Yeah, The Good Dinosaur. I think I've never seen it, but I know it was bad.
Well, what rapper was the featured artist on Lil Nas X's 2021 hit song "Industry Baby"?
He had like 3 of those that year.
I don't know who the featured artist was. I don't know. I know the song.
Yeah.
It was Jack Harlow. You're totally right.
I was about to say I know Jack Harlow was on one. I didn't know which one it was though.
In America, the candy with this name is small, chalky, pressed sugar candy tablets in colorful colors. But in England, the same name is used for a crisp shelled chocolate candy.
Smarties?
Smarties? I did not know the England part of this.
Who cares? They're just Smarties,
Agreed. This school is currently in the Big 12, has been part of it since its inception, and in 2025 reached a number 2 ranking in the AP poll, its highest ever. This is, by the way, basketball, not football.
Okay.
Big 12 basketball team reached number 2 in 2025.
Is Houston a part of the Big 12?
Yes, but is that the highest they've ever been? I feel like they've been 1 season.
No, they've been 1.
Texas Tech? That sounds right.
Texas Tech? I mean, I was about to say, can Iowa State also be it?
Were they a 2 seed?
Well, 2 in the AP poll.
People are all over the place. Baylor has been a 1 for sure.
Yeah.
Texas Tech. People say Texas Tech. All right. Dang it. Oh, well.
Darn.
This Louisville quarterback led the Big East in passing yards 3 straight years from 2005 to 2007 and led them to an Orange Bowl win. Brother, I don't know. Where's Jared Stillman when you need him?
Louisville quarterback in the Big
Great
East.
Louisville quarterback from the mid-aughts. Chat?
Do not know. People are saying it might be Brian Brome. Says Brad. Sure. Lamar in 2005.
Yes. Y'all, 05.
I mean, that's an answer.
We know it's not Lamar, folks. We understand that.
We know it's not Lamar.
Brian Brome, anybody backing that up?
I think we ripped Brad.
You are Jared Stillman Easton, right? Okay, here we go.
Let's rip it.
Nice, good pull there. This is terrifying. That's
Zac Efron's hair, isn't it?
I think so. Is that Efron? Sure. And then
I don't know either.
Inside. Is that even respectfully, is that even a lady?
I think so.
Chat. Ann?
Anybody? Ann?
Francis. Oh, you're totally right. Ann is so good at this. Holy. It totally is Frances McDormand. Yes. Okay, what was the answer to this one?
People were saying it might be Iowa State. Maybe we rip that.
Nice. Got it.
All
right. Ann you're a wizard.
Ann is surgical with it.
The second you said it, I knew you were right too. It totally is. Francis, wherever you are, I know you're watching this. I'm very sorry for questioning whether you are a woman or not. That was rude of me, but it was honest. So, anyways, all right. Not terrible. Should have gone with Iowa State. More folks in the chat honestly should have known.
Ann knows her women.
She clearly she has proven that day in and day out. And if only you would, show up more often, that'd be nice. But All right. Well, hey, Merry Christmas. That's it from us until Sunday. JT and Austin will be live with you pregame before the Titans and the Saints. I'll be there covering it in person. Still plenty of written content coming at AtoZSports.com this week, so check all of that out while you're enjoying the Christmas holiday. Eat lots of food, spend lots of time with your families, and enjoy the holiday, whatever you're celebrating. Also, enjoy the disgusting slate of NFL football on Sunday, which I'm sure we'll still all have on in the background anyways, even though it's going to be a whole lot of backup quarterbacks. So hope you all have a great holiday and enjoy. Until Sunday, for JT, I'm Easton.